You open your banking app. Your balance blinks back at you in the dark. A cold, precise sequence of digits determines your exact level of anxiety for the next 24 hours. You firmly believe that your relationship with money is a purely rational byproduct of your conscious daily decisions. But the truth is infinitely stranger. You are currently trapped inside an invisible psychological architecture engineered by deep human evolution. Your brain was never designed to navigate the complex mechanics of the modern global financial grid. Why do you continue to operate your economic life using a biological software that is over 100,000 years old? Every single transaction, investment, or omission you make places you onto a specific rung of a hidden ladder. Your entire existence shifts based on the investment level you occupy today. Imagine level 0. This is the state of absolute financial gravity. Money enters your digital custody and vanishes almost immediately like water slipping through open fingers. There is no long-term strategy here. There is no structural coverage against the unexpected variables of life. You live under the brutal tyranny of the present moment where every biological impulse dictates your material destiny. Your ancient reptilian brain takes absolute control of your scarce resources on this baseline step. The psychologist Walter Mischel demonstrated this precise vulnerability at Stanford University through his famous marshmallow test. He discovered that children who could not delay immediate gratification suffered catastrophic financial outcomes decades later in adult life. If you find yourself in level 0, you are trapped in those exact same primal survival loops. Money is not a tool for growth to you. Is it merely a short-term mechanism to soothe immediate panic? You spend your modern energy paying for your past choices instead of funding your future freedom. Consumer debts accumulate around your neck like invisible iron chains that limit your physical and mental movements every single day. Your mind experiences a state of chronic scarcity that physically shrinks your prefrontal cortex and reduces your ability to think long-term. You feel like the entire economic system is rigged against you from the outside. But the deeper reality is that you are playing a hyper-sophisticated game whose fundamental rules you simply do not know. Eventually, the pain becomes intolerable and you break the cycle to ascend to level 1. Welcome to the position of the defensive saver. You begin to accumulate capital inside a traditional banking institution and you feel a massive wave of temporary relief. The immediate danger of sudden eviction or starvation has successfully dissolved. You finally possess a cash cushion for a rainy day. You guard every single dollar with a zealous, almost religious devotion because you secretly terrify yourself with the thought of falling back into the chaos of level 0. However, this safe harbor is actually a brilliant psychological trap. The economists Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky explained this exact human behavior through their groundbreaking prospect theory. They mathematically proved that the psychological pain of losing $100 is twice as intense as the pleasure of gaining that exact same amount. Your intense aversion to loss at level 1 completely paralyzes your capacity for action. You prefer the absolute certainty of viewing a static number on your bright screen over facing the unpredictable volatility of the outside investment world. Do you actually know what is happening to that money while it sits quietly in your account? Inflation acts as a silent, invisible apex predator that relentlessly devours your purchasing power every single year. Your capital steadily degrades while it rests inside a digital vault that yields zero real economic return. You believe you are hiding from danger, but you are actually choosing the largest hidden risk of all, which is the guarantee of losing wealth by avoiding all risk. Your life on this level is a continuous simulation of safety that keeps you permanently stuck in the exact same physical and intellectual position. You decide to educate yourself past your fears and you leap courageously into level 2. You enter the widespread world of the casual, systematic investor. You purchase your very first low-cost index fund or you buy a small fractional share of a highly popular technology company. You automatically delegate your entire financial future to the mathematical average of the global stock market. You are directly applying the legacy of Harry Markowitz and his Nobel Prize-winning modern portfolio theory. You seek the holy grail of perfect diversification so you can sleep peacefully at night while your capital grinds away in the background. Your life takes on a brand new dimension of moderate optimism on this rung. You feel like a legitimate participant in the great engine of global wealth generation. Your personal net worth expands slowly alongside the general upward trajectory of the civilized world. Is this passive accumulation the true final destination of your personal freedom? The cold reality is that level 2 transforms you into a helpless passenger on a monolithic ship. If the global market rises, you rise along with it. If the global market suffers a sudden systemic collapse, your accumulated wealth evaporates, instantly alongside the savings of millions of strangers. You are trapped in the mediocrity of the statistical average by design. Your mind relaxes because you falsely assume that highly paid institutional experts are managing the global grid efficiently. You have completely externalized your financial responsibility in exchange for a comfortable convenience that will cost you everything during an unexpected black swan event. A deep sense of nonconformity forces you to abandon the crowd and climb upward to level 3. You transform into the active seeker of alpha and structural asymmetry. You no longer settle for the uninspired average returns of the passive index fund benchmark. You study the hidden institutional plumbing, looking for massive inefficiencies in emerging sectors, scarce commodities, or highly disruptive technologies. Your operational thesis aligns directly with the concepts pioneered by Nassim Taleb regarding antifragility and positive black swans. You actively hunt for rare scenarios where your downside risk is strictly capped but your upside potential is mathematically infinite. Your life in level 3 becomes intensely demanding, analytical, and highly isolated. You spend countless hours dissecting raw data and aggressively questioning the narrative consensus pushed by the mainstream financial press. You learn to passionately embrace volatility as your primary source of fuel instead of fearing it like the masses do. You understand that systemic chaos is the absolute best friend of the sophisticated investor if it is met with unyielding mathematical discipline. Can your ego genuinely survive the immense psychological pressure of being completely wrong most of the time? This specific level utterly destroys people with weak character because it demands an absolute separation between your emotional state and your capital allocation. You do not seek to be right in every single tiny trade. You seek to pay a very small price for the asymmetric opportunity to completely alter your generational wealth when the world inevitably changes its direction. Your entire existence turns into a strategic chess game played against the collective complacency of modern society. Finally, you break through the glass ceiling of speculation and enter level 4. You become the sovereign resource allocator. Money completely ceases to be an end in itself or a vanity metric for social validation. It transforms into pure, unadulterated energy and an absolute shield to protect your sovereign human autonomy. You no longer allocate capital to accumulate more digital fiat tokens. You allocate capital to buy your finite time back and to isolate yourself from the fragile infrastructure of centralized authorities. Your life at this ultimate level acquires an imposing, unshakable calm. You observe global economic crises and geopolitical unravelings not as personal tragedies, but as natural historical cycles of macroeconomic wealth redistribution. You hold absolute domain over your assets through direct physical settlement, immutable cryptographic custody, and strategic deisolation of your net worth. You do not require the permission, validation, or compliance of any third-party institution to exercise your material freedom. Does your entire worldview alter when you eliminate the fundamental need for money? You focus your remaining lifespan on building timeless structures, acquiring hyper-scarce tangible assets, and financing private projects that fundamentally reshape your direct environment. Your mind operates on an intergenerational time horizon of decades and centuries rather than the frantic cycles of days or quarters. You have successfully escaped the invisible financial labyrinth that tethers the vast majority of the global population to the floor. You look down once again at the small screen of your mobile device. Your banking balance continues to blink quietly in the darkness of your room. Now you understand with perfect clarity that this number is not a permanent life sentence nor a reflection of your intrinsic human worth. It is merely the current scorecard of the evolutionary game that you are actively choosing to play from this exact moment onward. Each distinct level demands a brutal psychological sacrifice and a radical restructuring of your internal identity. You can never solve the structural problems of the level you are currently stuck in by using the exact same mindset that brought you there in the first place. The defining question of your life is no longer how much fiat currency rests in your account today. On which specific rung of this invisible ladder are you going to choose to live the rest of your days?